Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be another Free Britney video. There's been lots of breaks in the Free Britney situation, so as I talk about Free Britney, I'm gonna bake a Free Britney cake because it's Valentine's Day and I want to bake a heart-shaped cake and I want it to say Free Britney, so that's what's happening. Before we get into it, I'd like to thank Ritual for sponsoring today's video. So Ritual provides you with easy to take capsules. They're multivitamins. These capsules provide 9 different nutrients. There's no fillers, no colors, or any like shady additives, so you know exactly what you're getting. So even like with a really healthy diet, it can be hard to get the key nutrients that you need. So I got the Essential for Women multivitamin to help fill in the gaps of, you know, my diet and the nutrients that I need. I like these vitamins a lot because you can like see right through them. It's like really cool actually. They have their ingredients listed so you know exactly what's in them. It's good for like the new year to get started on like a healthy vibe and definitely getting in the nutrients that you need. The Ritual is the obsessively researched multivitamin that's reimagining health from the ground up. They're vegan friendly, sugar free, non-GMO, gluten free, and allergen free, which is really great. Also offer men's multivitamins, a 50+ multivitamin, prenatals, postnatals, and teen vitamins. I think the best part is that it's delivered to your door, so you don't have to like go to the grocery store or to the pharmacy or anything. It's super convenient, especially during a pandemic. If you guys want to check Ritual out, you can get 10% off of your first 3 months, which is super great because healthiness doesn't happen overnight. You're gonna need to take the vitamins for like an actual minute. If you want to check out Ritual, then go to ritual.com/Platti and use the code Platti. You get 10% off of your first 3 months. Definitely go check them out. Thank you again, Ritual, for sponsoring today's video. So Free Britney is probably one of the craziest celebrity like conspiracy theory cases of all time. So obviously it's a different day. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna be making a Free Britney cake as we chat about Free Britney because I just wanted to do something different because obviously I've made quite a few Free Britney videos. I'll link them down below. I genuinely do not want to stop talking about Free Britney. And here's why. Obviously the Free Britney movement gains popularity every once in a while on the internet. And the thing is I feel like we need to continue to talk about it because that's what's getting shit done. Some stuff got done that we're going to talk about that is good for the movement, and yeah, but just to give you a brief. Also, look how cute these are. I got rainbow bowls, half a cup of vegetable, 1 cup of water, and 3 eggs. Like, it's like, actually I feel like that's really dramatic. Basically, Britney Spears has been under a conservatorship for the past 12 years. Conservatorships, like, to me the best way to describe them are for people who usually are very old or people who like are just completely incapable of making basic life decisions. Like in Britney's case, it's honestly pretty severe. She cannot even go on a walk without consulting her conservators. To put into perspective, James Spears, Britney's father, has been her conservator since 2008. Obviously, we know Britney went through quite a bit of a rough patch in 2008. Many people believe that the reason that Britney even agreed to enter the conservatorship is because she was afraid that she would lose custody of her children and also not even have visitation rights. So Britney's dad has been the conservator of not just her person, which would mean like her health care, everything like that, also her estate. Which means that he was the conservator, the person who was in charge of her finances and money, and she had no access to anything. We're gonna talk about the new Hulu documentary in a bit because it was very upsetting to see. It actually literally made me cry. Again, just to give a rundown of what Britney has been going through for the past 12 years. Essentially, like I said, can't even go for a fucking walk without consulting the conservators, and I'm guessing the lawyers. I don't think she has to contact her dad like directly, but she also can't spend her own money. She gets an allowance of like, I think it was 700, I'll put the correct amount, but 700 something dollars a week or something ridiculous, which is insane because Britney Spears is worth like what, $50 million? Should absolutely be seeing a lot more of that money than what she is seeing. That's part of living in LA is living near Trader Joe's, because when I lived in Florida, I had to drive like an hour to Trader Joe's, and honestly the parking lot of the Trader Joe's that I would go to definitely took like 5 years off of my life because I was so stressful. But anyway, and I have not seen one person that's around Britney, even in Britney's family, besides kind of her brother, who was also being kind of a dick on some podcast. I don't know, I didn't like his energy. Nobody pretty much agrees with the fact that Britney should be under a conservatorship from her father specifically. Whether or not she actually needs to be in a conservatorship is up for debate, and I'm assuming that we as the public will never be able to understand or know exactly if she is supposed to be in one. I feel like as somebody who has a pretty good understanding of what's going on with Britney and little understanding about, you know, the legalities of a conservatorship, I don't understand why the conservator has to be James Spears. I feel like Britney should have somewhat of a say in who her conservator is, and if she's claiming that for the past 12 years that her conservatorship with her father hasn't been working out, I feel like people should start listening to her. But finally they kind of are, and we're going to talk about that in a second. The reason that the Free Britney movement came about is in 2019, in early January of 2019, Britney canceled her residency show in Las Vegas. This residency show, which by the way, Britney Spears apparently cannot even make her own basic life decisions like going for a walk or how to spend her money, but she can perform in Las Vegas for $500,000 a night and also do everything that she has done in her career since 2008. That just sounds rather suspicious to me, I feel like. My roommate, when I got here, just has a drawer of Pam. Just Pam. So 2019, Britney cancels her residency in early January due to the fact that her father was having some like declining health issues, which also made him step down as the conservator of her person. He still remains the conservator of her estate, but she had like a fiduciary kind of step in and be the conservator of her person, which once again, really she was driving into the fact that she doesn't even want her dad at all, but nonetheless, he's the conservator. So she cancels her Vegas residency show, then all of a sudden goes basically completely dark from social media. This is very unlike Britney, because even if you see her now, she really posts quite a bit on social media. Lots of people think that there is hidden messages behind what she posts, which I actually really agree with. I don't know if we're just like looking for hidden messages, but I feel like it makes sense. So after Britney Spears went dark on social media, this really got fans pretty nervous that something was going on with Britney behind the scenes that they didn't know about. Basically, it came out a couple like weeks later that Britney had checked herself into a mental facility and that she was there during this time. And that's why Britney Spears wasn't posting on social media at the time. There's quite a few things. I've talked about this before, but I had never heard this theory about it, and it's crazy because I heard it in the documentary and I was like, wait, what? Because the whole time I thought that she had actually checked herself into the mental facility. But apparently that might not be the case. There's a podcast called Britney's Gram Podcast. The host basically just analyzed Britney's Instagram posts and determine, you know, is she crying out for help? Is there something wrong? And all of that stuff. So it's a very cool podcast. And basically they received a voicemail. This voicemail that the Britney Gram podcast had received was basically somebody claiming that they were a paralegal for somebody on Britney's legal team, and that they were saying that Britney did not voluntarily check herself into this mental facility during early 2019 and that she was forced to go. This is definitely interesting because under her conservatorship, they are definitely allowed to do that. They are allowed to check her into a mental facility. They are literally allowed to control her entire life. Like, I don't feel like Britney voluntarily wanted to go, but like I said, this is up for debate on whether or not this voicemail is real. But a lot of the Free Britney fans believe it, and that's where the Free Britney movement kind of really kicked off. So this was the real turning point for the Free Britney movement though, because so many people started hopping on board. There was protests, like there are still to this day, every time that there's like a new court meeting, because her conservatorship is one that has to be renewed and reviewed every year. So not only has Britney actively tried to get out of this conservatorship, but she has actually had to have the entire conservatorship reviewed and re-signed and installed every single year, which leads me to question, maybe we don't know enough, but I know that that's not the case, because like it's just, you know, it's just not. But like sometimes I do think, like, what if we don't, like, what if we're missing something? Like, what if Britney does need to be in a conservatorship? But even if she does, why does it matter who her conservator is? And why should it be her father, who's allegedly abusive and just disturbing? Like, even Britney's ex-husband filed a restraining order against Jamie Spears because he allegedly hit one of Britney and Kevin's sons, who are like 13 years old, 15 maybe. Like, that's absurd. I feel like something shady is going on, because think about it. Britney Spears is a millionaire. Britney is paying for the lawyers that are working against her. Like, that's seriously so fucked up. Like, she's also paying for the lawyers that are working for her, which she didn't even get to choose who the lawyer was, which is also just a whole nother thing. But it is seriously really fucked up that, like, she is paying for the lawyers that are, you know, working against her, for her father. Lynn Spears, with Britney's mother, even tried to become the conservator because she does not want Jamie in charge of Britney's life. So the New York Times, like, Hulu documentary talked about this and talked about how, like, Britney's, you know, paying these legal fees for her dad. And obviously they're probably getting paid a lot of money. They have complete reason and incentive to keep Jamie as the conservator, even though it might not be, and probably definitely isn't, for the benefit of Britney Spears' health. So this documentary starts off talking about how Britney was completely hounded by the paparazzi, hounded by, you know, the media, disgustingly talked to by the media and interviewers. Absurd how much women went through and still go through in regards to the media. Like I'm talking like celebrities. I just feel like it's absurd. Like, it's actually absurd, and the way that they talk to women is so different than the way that people talk to men, and I feel like you can't even argue with it at this point. And it talks about how her ex-boyfriend Justin Timberlake was such a dick and, like, claimed that Britney cheated on him and, like, all this stuff, even though, like, that apparently never happened either. You will be grossed out by the way that they talked to and about Britney during this time. I've seen this hundreds of times with different female celebrities being talked to such a way that is so upsetting. Amanda Bynes also, which you guys have been begging me to talk about, because Amanda Bynes is also in a conservatorship under her parents, and I had no idea. So in 2010, Amanda Bynes started having a pretty rough time. She was definitely more so influenced by drugs than I would say Britney was, but I think that it was pretty, you know, it was pretty bad. Bynes was arrested like several times for different car accidents. At this point, this was in 2012, where her parents decided that they wanted to, you know, request a conservatorship for their daughter. They were genuinely afraid that Amanda Bynes would hurt herself or others, and maybe they did have reason to believe that, and maybe she did have reason to be in a conservatorship. But in 2016, I felt like Amanda Bynes was starting to really shift the way that she was doing things. She became completely sober from drugs and alcohol. She started going to FIDM, Fashion Institution of Design and Merchandising. She was like a full-time fashion student. She wanted to get into acting, but her conservatorship was extended throughout 2020. In February of 2020, she basically went on Instagram saying that she needed to deal with her conservatorship because there was a lot of conflicting issues and conflicting beliefs. Like I said, she seemed to be definitely on a path to a recovery. She talked about her drug abuse in 2018 in an interview, and she even said that the reason that she got into drugs in the first place was due to like the feeling of like the pressure of being not in work. Like, she felt like she was working all the time. Obviously she was in several successful movies and TV shows, but then all of a sudden she stopped working and she was just doing nothing, and she just like felt, you know, really bad. And it sucks that also Hollywood puts so much pressure on people for like not doing things anymore, and it's honestly really irritating. Amanda Bynes has seemed to be doing a lot better, but recently things have been kind of confusing. Her fiance Paul Michael and her announced that they were pregnant in March of 2020. And it's so weird because there's an ultrasound, it has Amanda Bynes' name on it. Like, I understand things can be faked or whatever, but they actually posted it. Like, they posted that they were pregnant. And then like a couple like weeks or months later, all of a sudden like her lawyer was like, no, Amanda's never been pregnant, she's not pregnant. And then all of a sudden she's checked into a mental health facility. It's just weird that like both of them would post that they were pregnant and then all of a sudden she's like the only one that's checked into a mental facility. Something is not right. Something's going on with Amanda Bynes, and that's honestly really upsetting. Either way, there was certainly a point in time where I felt like Amanda Bynes was turning everything around, and I thought that she was going to start acting again, which I would love because I do love Amanda Bynes. And this unfortunately has not happened yet, and she still remains in a conservatorship, which leads me to ask a very important question, which is there times, like maybe for instance Britney and Amanda Bynes, that they needed to be in a conservatorship, they agreed to be in the conservatorship, but then later on are just basically stuck in this conservatorship and cannot get out of it, even though that they have improved. That's how I feel about the conservatorships that we've seen, but you know, really specifically with Britney Spears, because I've definitely studied that one a lot more than Amanda Bynes, and like Britney's current state, I feel like she does not need to be in a conservatorship. But once again, I'm not a lawyer, but I definitely, like I said, for the 100th time, need to reiterate, and I feel like we should all be talking about the fact that her father should not be her conservator. So recently there have been actual updates in the Free Britney case, which have been pretty exciting, so let's talk about that. So once this documentary came out, lots of people started really talking about Free Britney. I love, because I think that the more we talk about it, the less likely it will be for, you know, the court to continue to side with Jamie Spears. Because I think once people bring this conservatorship to a public attention more and we see these protests, it makes people obviously more likely to look further into, you know, the Free Britney case in general. Britney and her legal team basically really want Jamie Spears to not be a part of the conservatorship at all, but what they're trying to fight for currently is for Jamie to become a co-conservator instead of the sole conservator. He actually was a co-conservator of her estate with an attorney named Andrew Wallet. So Andrew Wallet is someone who's very interesting to me, and I'm incredibly intrigued by his purpose and his vibe. Let's just talk about it. So Andrew Wallet in 2018, October of 2018, he asked for a raise. He said that he deserved to be, you know, getting more money as Britney's co-conservator because Britney was suddenly going to be starting to make a lot more money. It basically just announced that she would be doing this residency show in Vegas that she was going to be making $500,000 a night from. This idea that Britney was going to start making more money made the conservatorship feel like it was a cash cow situation. That was all it ever was, because clearly Andrew Wallet all of a sudden asking for a raise is a little bit suspicious. And then all of a sudden in 2019, early 2019, he kind of just dipped. He was like, nah, I'm actually not going to be a co-conservator anymore, leaving Jamie Spears as the sole conservator. So Britney and her legal team have wanted Bessemer Trust, which is a financial like bank basically. They wanted them to be co-conservators with Jamie Spears over Britney's estate. Now, Jamie has said that he doesn't want this to happen, which I find interesting, because if your best interest is your daughter and your daughter wants something that seems fair and that, you know, most people would agree is fair, why are you acting like you don't want it then? Finally, this is a very great thing for Britney Spears. The Los Angeles County Superior Court this past week ruled that the Bessemer Trust will be a co-conservator of Britney Spears' estate. So they basically said fuck you to Jamie Spears and told him that he cannot be the sole conservator like he wanted to. This is a huge breakthrough. Even though the goal is to get Britney completely out of a conservatorship, it's one step closer to getting Jamie out of the conservatorship, which is, like I said, the main purpose. So Britney's boyfriend spoke out about this Free Britney movement, which, like I said, Britney, her boyfriend, and like kind of the people who are closest to her like that don't really mention the Free Britney movement or the conservatorship directly. So I found it very interesting that he finally did on February 8th. It's very exciting. He spoke out because everyone was talking about the documentary, and he said, "I've always wanted nothing but the best for my better half, and will continue to support her following her dreams and creating the future that she wants and deserves. I am thankful for all the love and support she is receiving from her fans all over the world, and I am looking forward to a normal, amazing future together." And then after that, he posted like an Instagram story saying, quote, "Now it's important for people to understand that I have no respect for someone trying to control our relationship and constantly throwing obstacles our way. In my opinion, Jamie Spears is a total dick," which I like literally couldn't believe that he said that. So clearly the people around Britney do not see it fit that Jamie Spears be in control of her life and of her finances. So hopefully something begins to happen soon. This is a big step, having Besimir Trust be the co-conservator. It's also pretty exciting because Britney actually directly addressed the Free Britney movement. The court documents basically said Britney welcomes and appreciates the informed support of her many fans. So this, for the Free Britney movement, was like basically a confirmation that Britney is on their side and not just being like, guys, like there's nothing wrong, like this is what should be happening. She clearly agrees with the people of the Free Britney movement, which is why I will not stop talking about it until Britney is like actually free. I'll continue to talk about different updates, whether it's here or if it's just like on Twitter or Instagram. I just think we should be continuously talking about this Free Britney movement. Like, it's pretty messed up if you actually think about it. I just hope that Britney Spears gets the freedom that she deserves and wants so badly. She has talked about it so many times over the past 12 years, how much she wants freedom from this conservatorship. And I believe that she, at least to my knowledge, I think she deserves full freedom. But like I said, I don't know anything. I don't know what's going on, you know, in real life with her, but I think that she at least deserves freedom from her father, and I think that she should have a conservator that the people around her agree is a good idea. Cute, what the F? Free Britney. That is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this Free Britney case. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. Anyway, that is it. Thank you again to Ritual for sponsoring today's video. If you guys want 10% off your first 3 months of vitamins, then definitely go to ritual.com/Platti and use the code Platti. Yeah, that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every week, and I will see you guys later. Bye.